Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmine here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. Today I wanted to talk about Galio. His rework came out on Wednesday, and I've been having a lot of fun with Galio over the last couple days, so I figured I'd go ahead and make him the focus of my Friday podcast. At the moment, I am actually in love with this champion. I think he's a lot of fun to play, and I think that, funnily enough, he has a really strong laning phase, and I was sure that that was where Galio was going to be the weakest because tanks in general just don't have strong lane, but Galio is actually quite good. Winds of War just does so much damage that landing it even a couple of times basically guarantees you win the lane because you're already burning your opponent out of pots every single time you hit it. It does an obscene amount of damage, and I'm not sure if it's just because people are unused to dodging the ability yet, or if it's because it just does a lot of damage. And this combo is actually really well with Galio's level 2 all-in. When Galio has Justice Punch and Winds of War and can combo those into each other at level 2, you can pretty much kill guys right off the bat, which is really strong, and it does feel pretty good if you're playing the Galio. The other thing is his ultimate is actually a lot of fun to play with and to play as part of a teammate. I did have a game earlier this week where I was playing Kled and Galio ults, and man, it brings the pain. It's really cool. It doesn't do as much damage as you think it should when it lands, but having the ability to jump across maps and show up with that much disruption is really strong. People seem to overestimate how much time they have before Galio lands and get knocked up, and then they get Justice Punched, and it's pretty much all good for your team. The other thing is Galio actually sells the mid lane mage role very effectively because of his passive W shield and his emphasis on magic resistance. I played a game earlier today against a Lux, and her E was just barely removing my W passive shield. That was it. Which is really bodes well for Galio's chances of being played mid, because if mid lane mages can't harass him down so easily, Galio has a decent chance. Now, I do think he'll be slightly weaker against champions who favor more of a sustained damage approach to their magic damage, so something like Cassiopeia or Rise, because you can get through the shield and immediately start burning away Galio's health bar. But especially short trades or people trying to poke out Galio, it's never going to work. You have an extra 200 health to burn through every single time you go for it, and Galio just doesn't care. Now, the one thing about Galio is he doesn't really bring a lot of kill threat as long as you pay attention for the level 2 all-in cheese. So playing a roaming mid laner like Talia can shove in Galio pretty effectively. Winds of War only does so much to help Galio's lane push. It's pretty much his only wave clear tool unless he wants to Justice Punch the wave, which isn't that great of an idea. So if you're playing someone like Rise, Aurelion Sol, or Talia, you can pretty much shove Galio in and get out of lane and go make plays elsewhere. And now Galio does have the opportunity to follow you with his ultimate, but I don't know if he's necessarily that quick. And at level 1, it's not that big of a range. It's around Twisted Fate ult, I would say. So Galio does need to be down the river, and he might be too late responding to a play unless he started moving the second they disappeared. The other thing about it is Galio's W actually feels really weak, and now I knew that parts of Galio's kit were going to be weak given that they combined his old ultimate and his old W onto one ability, but it doesn't feel that great to use, and part of this is because of its emphasis on building magic resistance. The 20% DR is nice, but it doesn't scale as well as you think it does unless you just have the opportunity to stack nothing but MR. The other thing is that the W active just doesn't ever feel worth using. The taunt lasts for not very long at all, even if you get up to a maximum charge, and being slowed for that long and by that much basically means that Galio doesn't really do that much. It's not even that much of a disruption, unlike a Shen Shadow Dash where he's on your back line, he's doing damage, he's got you taunted so you can't run away. Galio pretty much hits the button and then not much else really happens. And now maybe this is just me not knowing how to use the ability yet. It is still the first couple of days that Galio's been out, but it does feel weak to me currently. And Galio's damage falls off incredibly hard as the game goes on. So while Winds of War will be annihilating people in lane, by the time you get outside of lane, you're just not doing that much damage, especially in fights. And I feel like a lot of other tanks have more of a damage threat, especially someone like Sion or Maokai, who also have, well, not Maokai, but Sion definitely, who also has telegraph moves, deals a lot more damage in teamfights than Galio. And Galio Justice Punch has a huge telegraph. He jumps back, he charges forward, it's blocked by champions, it's blocked by terrain. It's really difficult for Galio to land that, and it doesn't feel like the payoff is there when he does, and he just doesn't have the damage threat he really needs, so he's kind of easy to ignore in the middle of fights. Now, all this being said, I think generally the Galio rework was a success. I think it hit all the right notes. He's still a big, disruptive, magic resistance tank. I think he also works very well as a mid lane tank, as I was kind of talking about before, so it's good to see that he can still do that. He plays in the top lane as well. Galio can also kind of jungle. It's not very effective. I've seen a couple of people do it, and more often than not, they get executed on their first clear, so maybe not playing him there. Support Galio also likewise seems a lot weaker than it was before, mostly because Shield of Duran slows you for so much. It's just so hard to get in, and the taunt doesn't last for very long. But it is nice to see that Galio is theoretically viable in a lot of different positions, but his two primary ones especially. In terms of his LCS viability, I don't feel like Galio will get much play in the LCS, and that's because Shen exists. And Shen does Galio's job, but way better. Quite frankly, if you want a split pushing tank, you're going to play Shen, especially because Galio's ultimate range is fairly large, that's true, but it's still not large enough that Galio can be on the opposite side of the map from his team. He does really need to start walking back towards the lane the play is happening in before he can arrive, unlike Shen, who can pretty much instantly hit R and have an impact on the fight. So if the target Galio is trying to save is already getting bursted, he's going to be way too late to ever show up, unlike Shen, who presses R and saves them instantly. All that being said, I do think that Galio has pretty good synergy with an initiator tank, someone like Malphite or Maokai who can go in to start a fight, because if he ults them immediately as they go in, he can provide basically a secondary layer of disruption with the knockups on Hero's entrance and maybe set his team up for success. All that being said, I do think that Shen is in a better niche, and especially with lethality on the rise and being currently favored by players, I don't think that it's going to be enough to push Galio into the limelight. However, I do think that he has a solid niche. If your opponent's playing something like a Rumble, Elise, Rise mid lane, pick Galio, stack magic resistance, and laugh at them, because they're not going to be killing you anytime soon, which is good. I think that's what we all wanted out of Galio's rework. Anyways, that's going to be it for me today. Go ahead and leave your comments on the Galio rework in the comments section down below. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on it and what you guys have been building on it, how you've been playing him. Would all be interesting for me to read. Go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. If you really enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days as well. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will talk to you all later.